make things. We use our hands, minds, and machines to build, to fix, to improve. We're known as do-it-yourselfers, home improvement fans, fix-it fanatics, inventors. At our core, though, we're all makers. So let's jump in and make something.
Hi, I'm Ron Hazelton. Welcome to the show. Today I'm going to talk trash. Well, trash cans to be a bit more precise. Kitchen garbage containers have come a long way. Some might even qualify as decorative accessories. But one thing better than an attractive trash can is an invisible one. Today I'm going to put ours out of sight while keeping it close at hand. An outdoor structure without walls and a roof? Now, who would want that? Well, the Egyptians and Romans loved them as cool, shaded places to escape the hot sun. They're called pergolas, and today we're going to build one.
You know, any way you slice it, trash is a byproduct of home life, and in particular, kitchen life. Now, I don't know about you, but around here, well, I'm the trash man. So I've decided I want to come up with the most efficient kitchen trash can I can think of. And for me, that's one that's close to the food prep area, as large as possible, and most importantly, out of sight. Now what I'm planning to do is to convert this door and this drawer to a pull-out trash unit. Now I could, if I wanted to, use a smaller trash can, just put it down here. But I want to use a large 10-gallon size, and that's going to require all this space from the bottom all the way up to the top.
My first step is to take off the door and drawer. I'll be reusing these later. Next, I remove the drawer glides. Then cut out the rail that separates the two openings. My Japanese handsaw is the perfect tool for this. My pull-out trash system will have two main parts: a base that I'll fasten to the inside of the cabinet, and a trash can holder. I'll cut out the top and drop in a plastic trash can. Then connect the two units using ball-bearing drawer glides. The entire thing will be concealed by applying the existing door and drawer front to the face. I'm using cabinet-grade birch plywood for this project, and as usual, I'm cutting out all of the parts at one time.
Now I'm going to start by putting the base together. The construction for all of this is pretty much going to be glue and nails, so I'll put a little bit of glue along this edge right here. Now when I'm working alone, I find this to be a really handy tool. I call it a positioning clamp, and this is the way it works. I'll slip it on right here, and then I'll slip my second board in here. Now what this actually does is kind of act as one hand holding this end of the board, so I'm free to use my other two hands to get everything aligned here. I like to feel the edges. Sometimes, you know, your fingers can be more accurate than your eyes. Just by dragging this over the edge, I can make sure that I'm flush there. All right, now we can go ahead and nail it. Okay, now I'm just going to do the same with the other side.
With the base assembled, I'm moving on to the small cabinet that will hold the trash can.
Okay, now what I've got here right now is a wooden box Set this down here. Now eventually I'm going to put this trash can inside, but before I can do that I've got to cut an opening in the top. So to get the size of that, I'll put the trash can on bottom side up and then just trace the outline of the lip.
I draw a second line about a ½ inch inside the first, so the opening will be just a bit smaller than the trash can lip. A roll of tape makes a perfect template for the corners. To start the cut more easily, I drill a hole inside the cut line, then drop the blade of a jigsaw in the opening and begin sawing.
Well, now for that moment of truth. Oh, that's good. Now I've got something to hold the trash can. The next step is to make it slide in and out. Now that's how the trash can holder is going to fit into the base. What's going to make it move easily are these. These are ball-bearing, full extension drawer glides. And what I'm going to do here is separate these. This section right here I'll mount on the inside of the base, and this piece here on the side of the trash can holder. Well, it's time for another of those moments of truth. I should be able just to engage the two sides of the glides here. Give it one little push. Very smooth. Now I'm going to put a coat of paint on this and then take it back inside and install it in the cabinet. Well, the paint's dry, and all I have to do to install this base is to slip it into the cabinet, give it a turn, and then pull it up to the inside of the base cabinet like that, and then simply screw it in place.
Now I can engage the glides and slip the trash can holder into the base. The door I took off earlier gets pinned to the front and then attached with screws from the inside. The drawer front goes on the same way.
Well, I think I've ended up with what, for me at least, is the perfect kitchen trash system. It's large, it's close to the food prep area. As a matter of fact, over here on the island, I could just push these food scraps from the countertop right into the can. And most importantly, when I don't want to use this, it's completely out of sight.
The ancient Egyptians and Romans adorned their garden with them and undoubtedly found shade beneath them from the blazing sun. It's the pergola of which I speak, and I'm headed to Orlando, Florida to help Bill and Frances Post build one in their backyard. Now, one thing that sold them on this property was the backyard. It's teeming with so much subtropical greenery that Bill and Frances spend weekends just trying to document all the different species. All this Garden of Eden needs now is something to dress up this unattractive corner where a work shed once stood. They feel, and I agree, that a pergola would be perfect. Now, a pergola is an open-air structure, a large arbor of sorts, designed to provide shade, charm, and style by allowing vines to climb its posts and spread across the rafters. Now, this is the perfect area for a pergola if I ever saw one. That's a word you don't use very often. Pergola?
No, we don't.
What are you guys going to use it for?
Well, we thought about putting the 2 chairs back here, and they're ready to go, make it a reading area, a nice little way to get away.
Little kind of cozy nook, sort of.
Yes, yes.
And what about down the road? Any other plans for it?
We were thinking maybe a hot tub would be a really nice touch.
Like that. I like it.
Yeah.
Our first step is to determine where exactly to sink the pergola's 6 posts. They must be lined up perfectly straight and parallel to each other. After checking with the utility companies to make sure the area was clear of underground gas, water, and electric lines, I marked the first corner post by driving in a stake. What we hadn't planned on, though, was the rain shower that came through here, so things have gotten a little bit damp. I'm convinced we can work around the showers. What do you think?
I think so.
All right, that's good. Take it, maybe one more wrap, and then just lay the string out this way. Now, what we've done for the front line or front edge of our pergola, use this piece of 2x2. It's perfectly straight. Now I'm going to take this oversized right triangle right here, put the base of it up against that 2x2 just like that. Bring it up so that the edge of it is right at the string there.
You ready?
Now what we want to do is move this string back and forth, left and right, until it's perfectly parallel with this edge right here. That guarantees us that this angle right in here is a right angle or 90 degrees.
How's that look, Ron?
Come over here. Well, you know what? I'm going to trust your eye.
That's not always a good thing.
Oh,
will
those
work.
are the kinds of
than
comments
yours.
Ron never makes. Husbands can make them. Okay, that's great. So I want to stay right on the edge of your
I hope
of
you
your
stay on the
line.
stake.
As opposed to your hand.
Yes.
How am I doing?
You're doing fine so far. I'm afraid to watch.
Right, now this is our front corner post here. Now we want to locate the 2 on the side. So the first one's going to be at 48. There you go. And just tie that off. Probably 1 knot will do it. You can
Okay.
slide it. No, you're right on the money. Okay,
Yep.
perfect. Okay, then move down to 96, which will be our rear corner post. And do the same thing.
We line up stakes alongside each ribbon and drive them in. Then we repeat the entire process on the other side, and our 6 post locations are staked out.
Now this is a bucket. I'm
Yeah.
going to take this piece of brick and put it in here. Oh, how about that? No bottom in the bucket.
Why?
Why? I'm glad you asked that. I'm going to use this as sort of a marking gauge. I'm going to put this right over that stake, which is the center of the hole that we want to dig now for our post. And then you've got some chalk here. This is the same chalk you use for a chalk line. And what I want you guys to do is just to go around here and put this chalk right at the base of the bucket like this.
Okay.
And what
can
we'll
do
end
that.
up with, I'll do this one, then I'll hand off to you because I want to show you
Okay.
what we're going to have here. When we take the bucket away, we get a perfectly round circle centered right over the stake.
Thank you. That's good.
Now this is a post hole digger. Its sole aim in life is to dig holes. Loves to dig holes. Unfortunately, it can't do it by itself.
Didn't think so.
It's a lot of work for one guy to do by himself.
Glad you're here.
Now you may think that this is a lot of concrete for 6 holes right here. But the reason we have so much, and this isn't all of it by the way, is that we had to make these holes 3 feet deep. Why? Well, because we're in hurricane country here, and the building department says we've got to go down at least that far to keep this stable in a high wind situation. So we're actually a little over 3 feet because I want you to take some of this. Francis, why don't you take this? This is just crushed rock.
Okay.
And pour about 2 or 3 inches in the bottom. Just give us some drainage underneath.
The drainage provided by the crushed rock will help keep the ends of the posts from soaking up moisture and rotting. And considering the effort it takes to drop them into place, well, they better last as long as possible.
Definitely is heavy.
Keep it coming straight up.
Not much
Straight
use
up.
on this part.
Okay. Okay, good. It's down.
Go.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Now this is a post level right here. It's going to strap right on. This will let us know that the post is vertical or plumb in both this plane and this plane without our having to hold a level up there, all right?
Okay.
I clamped some temporary braces onto the post for added support as we make the incremental adjustments necessary to reach the perfectly vertical state known as plumb.
Okay, that's it. Now we're plumb or vertical in both directions.
Now, to keep the posts in position while we add concrete, we drive in a stake near the bottom of the brace and clamp the 2 together. Next, we pour in the dry concrete and add a gallon of water per bag. Now this is quick setting concrete and requires no mixing. What could be easier?
All right, you see this, Francis? You know
Yes.
what that is?
No?
It's a support. As I get up in years, I do this more and more. Instead of kind of holding heavy boards like this, I tack that on there. Now, not that you're getting up in years. I didn't want to imply that.
I haven't
But I
noticed
want to
it.
make this easy for you.
We drive a couple of screws through pre-drilled shank holes to temporarily attach our first beam, then the second beam to the post. The beams will be permanently attached with carriage bolts. That means we'll have to drill very deep shank holes all the way through the two beams as well as the post.
Now, that's a big a drill bit, huh?
It's a very big
That's what it's going to
drill
take
bit.
to go all the way through here.
If I make a mistake with that, I'm in big trouble.
All right,
Getting more confident in you.
but you won't,
Okay.
because you have mastered the drill. Okay, guys, what I've done is I've marked 2 holes up here on a diagonal. And I've
Okay.
put X's. You see where they
Yes,
are?
I do.
Placing the bolts diagonally like this reduces the chance of the post splitting later on.
All right, and Bill is off to an early lead, but Francis seems to be catching up as both of them drill aggressively into the third turn. Francis, though, pulling up quickly, closing that gap. This is going to be a very tight race. There you go. All right.
Very nice. Very
All
nice.
right, well, you win for perseverance, and you left the drill bit in there, which means we won't have to put a bolt in that hole.
Well, I really do like that drill bit. So we decide to replace it with carriage bolts, which we drive in, secure with nuts and washers, then tighten with a socket wrench.
Well, this is our rafter, the first one we're going to put up, guys, and we've got that same chamfer on the edge here, on the end that we have on our beams. So I'm going to hand this up to you. So, Bill, if you got that in, and Francis this end, just set it right up on top of the beam there.
Okay.
And then bring it out to me a little bit further over this way.
Since Orlando is susceptible to hurricanes, we need to attach these rafters as securely as possible. These hurricane clips are the way to do that. I temporarily hold them in place with a screw, then hammer in hot-dipped galvanized bracket nails. We use a spacer board to create an equal distance between each rafter.
So where do you want this?
A little to the right, Ron, if you would.
Your right or my right?
Yeah, my right.
I like it a little to the left.
To the left? You know what? I got a hook here. I'm going to hang it right here. How's that look?
Looks good. I enjoy sitting here watching you do some work.
Yeah, you know, I meant to talk to you about that. The way this is supposed to work, Bill, is I watch you work and I'm the coach. But you know, this hasn't quite turned out that way.
I didn't realize that.
You guys put me to quite a bit of hard work
you
today.
to
Actually,
work.
you did
We
all the
did.
hard work, and it turned out great.
It's beautiful.
You know, I can just picture this pergola in a few short months with climbing vines providing a cool green canopy across the rafters. And when Bill and Francis install that hot tub underneath, well, it will be their personal kingdom and just as magical as any other here in Orlando.
You know, a workshop can be a natural attraction for young kids. Now, I make sure that I'm out here when they are, but even so, I want to take precautions with my power tools. For one thing, I store them up high, well out of reach like this. And here's a trick that I picked up that keeps them from accidentally plugging them in. Take a key ring and pass it through the holes in the plug. Now, admittedly, this is the last line of defense, but at least it'll make sure that they can't plug this in accidentally.
To view today's projects again, visit ronhazelton.com. Step-by-step home improvement tips when you need them.